Hi, and welcome to Sunday Morning Joy for February 28th, 2021. If you're a returning viewer, it's nice to have you back again. And if you're new to Sunday Morning Joy, well, welcome. This show features musical artists from within the LGBTQ2+ community and our allies. Today, as in every show, we have many styles of music for you. We have classical, jazz, musical theater, traditional, and rock. Something for everyone. And since February is Black History Month, we are continuing to recognize Black musicians past and present. We would love to hear from you. Feedback, comments, suggestions. Contact Rod at pridelondon.ca. And don't hesitate to watch our previous episodes on the Pride London Network. There are a variety of performances that you just won't want to miss. I'm so happy to be able to introduce you today to Antonis Varkaris. Antonis was born in London. He grew up singing and performing in musicals at school and in the community. At the end of high school, Antonis moved to Toronto to pursue his career as an actor and comedian. And like most performers, he's had a hard time finding creative outlets during the coronavirus pandemic. But he has a lot of time to himself, so he's putting his energy into container gardening and playing with his cat. Today, Antonis is singing I Get a Kick Out of You, a Cole Porter tune from the musical Anything Goes, and sung by many artists, including the incomparable Ella Fitzgerald. Antonis chose the song because it was light and playful and simple. All colors we could use a dose of these days. Enjoy Antonis Varkaris, I Get a Kick Out of You.
My story is much too sad to be told, but practically everything leaves me totally cold. The only exception I know is the case when I'm out on a quiet spree, fighting vainly the old ennui, and I suddenly turn and see your fabulous face. I get no kick from champagne. Your alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some prefer perfumes from Spain. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, that would bore me terrifically too. Yet I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to me you obviously don't adore me. I get no kick in a plane, flying too high with some guy in the sky is my idea of nothing to do. Yet I get a kick out of you. Ding.
But what do you want? When you look at yourself in 5-10 years, what do you want to see when you look in the mirror? Do you want to see them, or do you want to see you?
We're going to listen to a little bit of Johann Sebastian Bach. It's not the first time we've had Bach on this show. I'm partly to blame for that because I have a bit of a passion for his work. Anyway, today we have Tyson Moxley playing Air on the G string. Now, get your minds out of the gutter. It's not that kind of a show. Yet. Anyway, Tyson Moxley, the construction worker, the violin teacher, the potential real estate agent, will be playing this wonderful work for us, Air on the G string by Johann Sebastian Bach.
I volunteered with Pride just as a volunteer in the beer garden. I was scheduled at a few different events throughout the week and throughout the weekend in the park, and I was just a volunteer at the time, and that was my first year that I came out and volunteered with Pride, and I realized how much just one event brought the community together, how much of an impact in London that having all the different Pride events really was there for people. You saw
Oscar Peterson, the world-famous pianist from Montreal, has contributed his special brand of joyful, heart-swinging jazz throughout his 200 recordings with Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald and Duke Ellington and many other jazz greats. He won many honors, including 7 Grammy Awards throughout his 60-year career. Oscar insisted on fair treatment and recognition for Canada's multicultural community, and he was inducted as a Companion of the Order of Canada in 1984, which is Canada's highest civilian honor. OP, as he was known as by his friends, is celebrated in the annual Oscar Peterson International Jazz Festival, which began in 2018. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2007, but he has been and continues to be an enormous influence on musicians and music lovers alike. As a Canadian Black man, we honor his legacy. We have two performances of Oscar Peterson's works today. First of all, Jane Hyson and Ann Pinn have returned to perform and improvise on a minuet written by Oscar Peterson for piano students. Jane will explain a little bit more about it just at the introduction to their piece. Jane and Ann have been on the show before and are performing musical artists right here in London. We always enjoy having them on this show. We also always enjoy having the brilliant jazz pianist Brian Gloyd, who will play right immediately after Jane and Ann's performance. Brian will improvise on a brilliant composition by OP called Hymn to Freedom. This is seen as an ode to the global human rights movement. There is no doubt that he borrowed from his influences of his upbringing, hymns and spirituals. In both OP's original performance of it on the album Night Train and in Brian's improvisation of it, it begins hymn-like and soulful, and then it begins to swing in OP's true jazz tradition. Enjoy these two performances of Oscar Peterson's music, a man who we are proud of as both Black and a Canadian.
Hi there. I've got this great book in front of me. This is an Oscar Peterson Jazz Exercise in Minuets, a book he wrote to help the young pianist learn how to play jazz. And I was 8 years old when my father put this in front of me, Minuet number 8, one of my favorite pieces. We're going to play it for you today. I added a little introduction, and Anne and I will play the tune and improvise on it as a tribute to Oscar.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
It always brings me joy to have Mark Smith on our show. This talented musician, singer, director, and pianist has been such an amazing asset since he arrived here in London in 2007. Today, Mark will perform a spiritual. Spirituals are largely seen as the music of Afrocentric North Americans in response to slavery and other forms of discrimination. They often spoke of freedom and carried messages both of resistance and of hope. Often the lyrics of spirituals used the language found within church institutions, hence the name spirituals. But the imagery is clear. Speaking of crossing the river and rising to heaven are actually metaphors for their pursuit of freedom. There has been a movement in our world to deprive us all of spirituals simply because performing them is regarded as cultural appropriation. But for many of us, cutting this protest music out of our lives would do a disservice to those who fought for human justice and rights throughout the centuries. So let's learn to embrace and share these messages of hope, freedom, human expression, and love. The images in this video are photos and paintings from the movement to free slaves from the southern U.S. and bring them to the northern U.S. and to Canada. Now, while Canada was seen as a safe haven for slaves, and to a large extent it was, we do not have a clean record here. We had only disallowed slavery a few years before the Americans did, and we had, and continue to have to this day, an abysmal record of providing equality to our people of color. So as Mark sings this wonderful piece, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, please remember the struggle that our Black community has endured and think about ways in which we can all make our country a safe haven for our Black community.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up and sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul feels heaven bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me
When Paul McCartney wrote the song Blackbird, he was inspired by the Black civil rights movement in the US and around the world. More specifically, the story of the Little Rock Nine was an impetus for the piece. The Little Rock Nine were 9 high school students who wanted to attend an all-white high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. Even though segregated schools were declared to be unconstitutional in the US in 1954, There were still all white and all black schools into the 1960s. In 1957, these 9 students were blocked from going to school and faced angry mobs. President Eisenhower stepped in and sent in the National Guard, who escorted them into the school. But even then, they faced years of verbal and physical abuse as students. But they persevered, and most of them graduated and are hailed as leaders in the civil rights movement. So Paul McCartney heard of their story and he wrote, "Blackbirds singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise." Joyce Toner and Diane Bialek will be performing this wonderful piece for us. Diane has also included some photos of the Little Rock Nine story. The last photo you will see is of Paul McCartney when he met with 2 of the Little Rock Nine. Enjoy this wonderful performance of Blackbird by Joyce Toner and Diane Bialek.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
So that's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed Sunday Morning Joy. Tune in each week to see the show and visit the Pride London Network for a variety of programming. Just go to pridelondonnetwork.com. And if you have any comments or suggestions for us, suggestions for performers or content, just contact me, Rod Culham. It's rod@pridelondon.ca. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Morning Joy. Tell your friends about us, and we'll see you again next week.